So why do we spend all this time to work with a client to get all of their nitty-gritty details and get as granular as possible? So the truth of the matter is, it all comes down to the psychology of good advertising. You see, I'm not going to play any of these ads, but I'm going to talk about those ads everybody's heard on the radio or on TV, seen on TV, where it's all about features and benefits, right? We've been in business for 25 years, or family owned and operated, or come on down, free parking. Like, talking about these features and benefits really don't do anything to grab the attention of anybody anymore, because everybody can say these things. These are all points that every single company in the world could make, at some point or another. Now, massive corporations, completely different ballgame. We're talking small to medium-sized business. So if you go to, the local radio station or the local television station, and you say, hey, listen, I want to get on cable, or I want to get on radio, and they produce and write and produce an ad for you, you're going to get ads that, sound kind of like those ads. And it's unfortunate, because the problem is that a radio ad guy, the guy that writes in the radio station, and I've spoken with quite a few of them, they're like, yeah, we have to write a lot of content all the time. Doing the interviews and really getting to know the client, it's not possible. It's an impossible task. And so, if you really don't know the client, it is darn near impossible to write for them. So we spend a lot of time, and this is the reason why. If your message can be said by your competitor, then it's not a strong enough message for advertising. And so the psychology of advertising comes down to, am I able to speak my own language and still get translated over to the listener, to the viewer, to the customer, that I'm unique and I'm good for you, and we're going to work well together. And so what we do is we ask a lot of questions. How would you make a decision on this? What tell me a thing in the past that you learned a really valuable lesson on. How many kids do you have, and what are their nicknames? What was the nickname that your parents had for you, and what do your kids call your grandparents, or call their grandparents, or your parents? And so we ask a lot of really interesting questions. But we spend a whole day with a client after we decide we're going to start to work together, and then we spend another whole day, and we call that day an uncovery day, where all we're doing is uncovering the stories that got them to where they're at. Because quite honestly, the journey that the business has gone through is important to the listener. And so their story, they're the only ones that can tell it. And so that's what we do. We work hard to craft these stories at the Wizard of Ads that nobody else can say. And so what I thought, to answer this and to show it off, what I'd like to do is maybe just give you a couple of examples. I've got 3 radio ads that I'm going to play for you for a company called Seaside Plumbing. They're out of, they used to be in Berlin, but just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. They cover, almost all of Maryland, and a big portion of Delaware. And they're in a great community, like an old community, an established community, and they are, I think as of right now, they're the leader. They're the independent leader, so they're where they're privately owned. They're not a conglomerate. Okay, they're not part of a venture capitalist group. And so they're a very large company, and they tell a really good story. And we've been working with them now. I think we're coming up to 2 full years writing ads, and developing strategy for how they go to market. And it's owned by Lauren and Josh Martin. And here, listen to the first ad, and then we can talk about it.
Meanwhile, at Seaside Plumbing, Lauren is teasing Josh about a joke gone wrong.
Josh, why does your office door sign say that?
What do you mean, Lauren? My door has my name on it.
That's not your name, Josh.
One of the plumbers put it up. They heard the story. You remember, don't you?
I remember having to call the phone company to get them to change the caller ID for Seaside.
Didn't think they took me seriously. It was a joke.
So when you set up the business line for Seaside Plumbing, you thought it would be funny.
Still makes me laugh.
To tell the phone company that your alias was
Big Daddy Josh Martin.
Do you know how long it took me to get Big Daddy out of the phone book listing?
I remember. Thank you, Lauren.
Seaside Plumbing, also known as Big Daddy Josh Martin. Okay, kind of funny now.
I still regret not holding on to one of those old phone books.
Seaside Plumbing has changed a lot in the last 20 years.
But some things are still the same?
I'm not calling you Big Daddy.
In a sea of ordinary, choose extraordinary. Visit SeasidePlumbers.com. Licensed in Delaware and Maryland.
So that ad that you just heard was Big Daddy Josh Martin, and oh my gosh, that was so funny. It's actually, I noticed a sign up on when we were doing the tour of their facility. I noticed a sign on a door, and I didn't know it was Josh's office. It just said Big Daddy Josh Martin, and I didn't know what it was for. And it was a sign on his office door, and it was one of his staff members had it made and put there because they heard the story about how Lauren, after when they got married and she became part of the company and started working on the company, she had to work her butt off to try and get the phone company to take it out of the phone book. And so I just thought it was an entertaining story where you can say, hey, listen, this is a company that went through growing pains and they're now a large company, right? 20 years in business. And we say that without saying we've been in business for 20 years. I mean, it's so hokey, but they get to tell these stories where they're authentic and true and real. But still have a point, and we get to the end where you go, oh, okay, hey, listen, they sound like something I would have done. So here we go. Like this is that I can connect to them, I can bond with them, I can like them, and that's really what you want. You don't listen if you're a plumbing company and you say, hey, we snake toilets, good for you. So does everybody else. Yeah. Oh, we do trenchless. We do we do the thing, whatever the thing is. Right? We change hot water tanks. We flush them. Everybody can say those things, but why are you better than anybody else? And probably you're not terribly better than anybody else. Now, maybe you might have a better handle on operations and you've got a really, smooth dispatch system. Your CSRs are, highly effective. All those things may be true, but nobody cares. So anyway, here's another one. Take a listen to this. And this one I think is called Josh Remembers. It's about their anniversary. Take a listen.
Meanwhile, at Seaside Plumbing, Josh excitedly finds Lauren in her office.
Lauren, glad I found you.
Josh, good. Wanted to talk to you about the Robinson job because he's without water. Can we please take care of him quickly?
Okay. Just wanted to wish you happy.
Just in case the splitter head gets stuck.
Of course. And happy.
Do we not have enough splitter heads?
We do. And happy anniversary.
So why did we get an invoice for another one?
I wanted to make sure there's always one available. And happy anniversary.
Okay, good. And all our plumbers have access to the equipment, right?
Yes, all the plumbing techs know how to sign out anything they need. You do know what today is, right?
Of course, it's Tuesday. So we have everything we need for the job.
Yes.
And Mr. Robinson will be taken care of today.
Absolutely.
Good. Then why were you looking for me?
I just wanted to say happy anniversary.
Oh, thanks, Josh. But it's actually tomorrow.
In a sea of ordinary, choose extraordinary. Visit SeasidePlumbers.com.
So in that one, I'm brutal for this. I always think I've done the right thing. I always try to remember. My anniversary is I think the 28th of April, and every year I always say to my wife on the 27th, happy anniversary, just in case. So, but this is a story that happens to anybody. So Josh is coming in, he's trying to be romantic, and Lauren just wants to make sure the customers are taken care of, right? And all the plumbers have everything they need. And that's really who they are as people. Like Josh is, don't get me wrong, great company owner, loves his people, wants to work with them. But Lauren is very much by the book, and she wants everything to be done perfectly so that the customers are always really taken care of. And that's how it's the real character traits that these two people have. And so we just tell this really awesome story, which has happened to others, which means now we can relate. We're like each other. You're of my people. Anyway, and the last one I have for you is called Where's Josh? And this one we wrote. It's a true story, but it shows how much they care about plumbing, and it's a little strange. So listen to this one.
Meanwhile, at Seaside Plumbing, Lauren and Josh are on a date.
Josh.
Ouch. Oh, Lauren, sorry. You caught me.
And on date night?
I just can't help myself.
But we're on a date.
I was gonna come straight back out, but when I started washing my hands...
I know. You heard a strange sound under the sink.
I just had to look. and see if I could fix it.
After 20 years, should have known. So what's wrong with the plumbing?
You won't believe what the original plumber did with the trap.
They didn't use an S-trap, did they?
Yup. How did the building inspector ever pass this?
You always find this stuff.
I'm sorry, Lauren. I promise this won't happen next date night.
You're right, because you're going to cook for me at home.
Yes, gonna make Big Daddy's famous spaghetti from a can.
In a sea of ordinary, choose extraordinary. Visit SeasidePlumbers.com.
Okay. So, oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody else got the double innuendo. I think that's how he said it. Anyway, where what is he doing in the bathroom, by himself, snuck from his wife. And he was checking out the plumbing to make sure that, and then we reference back to Big Daddy again, right? And the Big Daddy Josh Martin. So but we have to know the customer. We have to know how to write for the customer. We need the customer to be really free with sharing kind of their story. Not kind of. We need them to be free of sharing their stories. They need to be okay with it. We're always going to put the best light forward, even when we show off a vulnerability, a mistake that they made, or a problem that came up that they've overcome. And I think it's important that each of these examples were authentic and real and true, and nobody else in their market can tell their story. Only they can. And when they're there, the best thing about marketing for me is, and especially we love radio at the Wizard of Ads. Everybody thinks we're radio first. We're not. Just radio is the best return on investment. Still, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But for mass media, it's that repetition, being able to be heard by the same person over and over and over again, so that when that thing comes up that they need from you, so if it's plumbing services, which I think you have a major plumbing event, or a big plumbing event once every 7 years, right? So like a long purchase cycle. And so we want to be thought of well before the need. And if our client's not thought of well before the need, we're not doing our job. If they're not thought of and liked the best. And so when we buy media, we buy it to get repetition. So when my client says, "How do you spend so much time with us?" It's because if I don't know you, I can't write in your voice. And I can't help you to put your voice onto social media or in your inter-office communications, or in your emails out to the world at large, right? So we can help define the voice, because you really don't know what your voice is. You think you need to be a character, and we would just want you to be you. And really, that's the best way to describe in a really long format what the psychology of good advertising is. It's be authentic, be real, tell your own unique story. Say it to the same people as often as you possibly can, so that they know who you are and they can know, like, and trust you before they even need the thing that you sell. Anyway, I hope that helps. My name is Matthew Burns. I'm a Wizard of Ads partner, and I love talking about this stuff.